The breaking story out of New Zealand involving a Canadian woman who barely escaped a deadly attack, a random attack, random violence according to officials. Her fiance was killed. There is a manhunt underway. Laura McQuillan's been tracking all of the developments for us and some big breaking details as we begin our conversation this time around.
That's right, Heather. We're now able to name the Canadian woman who was caught up in all of this, fled for her life, survived. Her name, Bianca Buckley. We know she's a 32-year-old who has been living, working in New Zealand. That's her with her fiancé, Sean McKinnon, a 33-year-old from Australia, tragically killed in this horror attack that took place in New Zealand almost 24 hours ago now, but we're just learning of it overnight. They were sleeping in a camper van when a man began shooting into that van. We don't know whether it was a robbery or what the motive was at that point, but we know that Sean McKinnon was killed, Bianca Buckley surviving that attack. She fled on foot, and the assailant actually stole their camper van with Sean McKinnon in it. He was injured at that point, later found dead with that van abandoned. Police in New Zealand giving more details on this overnight, and they say they're pretty concerned because they believe that that suspect who they're now hunting for may still have a gun. Here's what police said.
It's concerning for all members of the public, but I would like to say that this appears to be a random attack, and the police are working to reassure our community that their safety is our #1 priority. What we're asking and appealing to the community is to work with us to identify this person and make contact with the inquiry team.
Now, police are saying they believe the man who attacked them acted alone, but they said something cryptic. They said due to the circumstances of this attack, it's likely that that man had confided in members of his community. We don't know if that means there could be a gang link behind this. Police very tight-lipped at this point on what may have gone on. They say they've had a number of tips from the public that they're working through, and they've taken the unusual step of arming all police in the Waikato district, which is this entire province of New Zealand. Police there not normally armed, but such is the scale of this manhunt. They want every police officer to have a firearm on them in case they come across whoever it is they're hunting for.
Come back to the Canadian woman involved in this. As we've said, the breaking news now able to identify Bianca Buckley, 32-year-old woman from Canada, starting to get a little bit of a picture about her and her fiancé. What more can you tell us? So
we know that they'd been engaged for many months now. You know, they've been travelling together. We're learning her identity through Australian media, and we are working to reach out to people who knew her as well, know her. She'd posted online about their adventures together, about them touring around New Zealand, her adventures in New Zealand. Her partner, Sean McKinnon, he was just travelling over from Australia, so didn't live there. His family has been speaking out today as well. Some really heart-wrenching words from his sister, who spoke to the Sydney Morning Herald newspaper, and she said that her brother was a hard worker, a brilliant musician, an amazing surfer. He was always one to give you a hug and tell you that he loved you. He was a very gentle sort of soul with a good sense of humour. A little bit more from police as well in New Zealand. I spoke to them a little earlier today, and they wouldn't give an update on Bianca's condition. They did speak about that yesterday, and here is what they said.
We are supporting the female victim, who is understandably very shocked and distressed, providing her with the support and welfare that she needs. Still working through in regards to injuries that she may or may not have obtained during the ordeal. The terrain where the vehicle was stolen is quite rough, with a lot of bush around.
Now, we are working to establish more details, the backstory to this, and learn more about the couple themselves. Of course, we'll keep on top of New Zealand police as they continue with that manhunt, trying to find whoever was responsible for this.
32-year-old Bianca Buckley, the Canadian woman who escaped this terrible violence, random attack in New Zealand. Laura, thank you.